The stadium lights burn like captured stars, fanning across a sea of expectant faces. It is late evening, the air heavy with the electricity of anticipation. Somewhere beneath the roar of tens of thousands of spectators, a quiet heartbeat pulses with steady determination. It belongs to a woman whose journey began far from the deafening grandeur of Olympic arenas, a woman shaped not by glamour or privilege, but by discipline, resilience, and a relentless will to run. This is the story of Kirsten Emmelmann, one of the finest 400-meter and relay athletes ever to emerge from East Germany. A runner whose career bridged borders, ideologies, and eras as the world around her transformed. Colorful image description: a vibrant wide shot of a packed 1980s European stadium. Golden floodlights streaking across the track, with a young Kirsten Emmelmann poised in her starting blocks, her eyes locked forward, the red GDR uniform glowing against the darkening sky. The story does not begin in a stadium, but in a quiet corner of Mecklenburg, where the sound of wind skimming across fields was more common than the applause of crowds. Born with a naturally athletic frame and a sense of unshakable inner calm, Kirsten carried within her a gentleness that contrasted with the raw power she would one day unleash on the track. As a child, she was not the loudest, nor the boldest. She was the one who watched, absorbed, studied, and then surprised everyone by simply being better than anyone expected. Teachers noticed her posture first upright, balanced, almost dancer-like. Then, her endurance, how she could run longer than the boys without complaint. And finally, her speed. There's a moment in every athlete's childhood when destiny quietly taps them on the shoulder. For Kirsten, that moment came on a dusty school field during a class relay. She grabbed the baton, felt its cold metal in her palm, and something inside her clicked with instant clarity. The world narrowed into a single lane. The cheers grew distant. Her legs moved with a rhythm she did not yet understand, yet it felt like coming home. Colorful image description: a soft, painterly depiction of a young girl running across a school field, autumn leaves swirling behind her, classmates cheering in the background as the sun casts a golden glow. This innate ability led her to structured training programs, where she began the demanding life of an elite GDR athlete. Training sessions were long, meticulously planned, and strictly monitored. But while some athletes buckled under the pressure, Kirsten thrived. She was not driven by fear or obligation. She was driven by craftsmanship. Each stride, each breath, each lift of the knee became an opportunity to refine something within herself. Coaches often described her as quiet fire. She didn't boast, didn't seek attention. She listened with intense focus, absorbing every instruction. Her 400-meter training demanded not just strength and endurance, but the ability to tolerate extraordinary pain. The lactic acid wall that stopped many runners mid-stride seemed for her not like a barrier, but like a challenge. She learned to lean into it, to treat the burn as a companion rather than an enemy. By the early 1980s, Kirsten Emmelmann began to emerge as a powerful relay runner, smooth, reliable, and mentally unshakable. Relay racing is not just about speed. It's about trust, timing, and the rare ability to hold your nerve when everything is on the line. Kirsten became known for her precision, her acceleration zone, her handoffs, her ability to judge a teammate's pace with instinctive accuracy. Colorful image description: a close-up. Stylized shot of a baton exchange, Kirsten's hand extending backward, fingers open, her teammate's hand reaching forward in perfect synchronization, the stadium blurred into a swirl of colors behind them. But greatness does not happen in a straight line. It is shaped by setbacks, disappointments, and the quiet moments when an athlete confronts the limits of their own belief. One of her early hurdles came from the intense internal competition within the GDR system. Dozens of world-class athletes fought for a handful of spots on national teams. Every race felt like a selection trial. Every mistake felt amplified. Yet Kirsten's strength came not from aggression, but from consistency. She rarely crumbled. She simply kept getting better. Her persistence paid off when she became a core member of the East German 4x400 relay teams that would dominate Europe and challenge the world. By 1985, she had risen to the rank of a trusted international competitor. Then came 1986, a year that would solidify her place among the greats. At the 1986 European Championships in Stuttgart, the atmosphere was explosive. Tens of thousands of German fans eased and west filled the stadium, their cheers merging into a single national heartbeat. The GDR women's 4x400 relay team was a force of nature, but every race still had to be earned. Kirsten was placed on the third leg, one of the most psychologically demanding legs of the relay. The third runner must maintain position, create momentum, and ensure the anchor has every possible advantage. As she received the baton, the stadium felt like it inhaled. Colorful image description? A dramatic action shot of Kirsten taking the baton at full speed, her expression fierce and focused. Her stride cutting through the air like a blade, with the Stuttgart crowd erupting behind her in a wave of color. She stormed through her lap with ferocity, shoulders relaxed, stride lengthened, face serene despite the speed. When she handed the baton to Marita Koch, one of the greatest 400-meter runners in history, the East German team was in a commanding position. They went on to win gold in stunning fashion. That victory became one of the most iconic relay moments of the era, etched in the memories of European athletics fans. Another monumental moment came earlier that same year at the 1986 World Indoor Championships, where Kirsten contributed to a gold medal performance in the 4x400 relay. Indoors, the track feels smaller, tighter, louder. Every footstep echoes. Every breath seems amplified. It is a battlefield of precision and nerve. Kirsten excelled there too, proving her adaptability and composure. But the 1987 World Championships in Rome would lift her reputation to an even higher plane. The world watched as the GDR women delivered yet another breathtaking relay victory. Kirsten ran with the assurance of an athlete who knew exactly what she was capable of. No hesitation, no second guessing. She became a world champion that night, and the stadium roared with admiration. Colorful image description, a glowing, cinematic shot of the Rome evening sky above the stadium. With the East German relay team celebrating on the track, golden medals reflecting the floodlights, and Kirsten smiling with exhausted joy. Behind these triumphs was a daily life shaped by discipline. Kirsten's routine was rigorous. Early morning runs, strength sessions, track intervals designed to break and rebuild the body, physiotherapy appointments, team meetings, and video reviews of races. Nutrition was tightly controlled, rest carefully scheduled, yet she found balance. She enjoyed quiet moments, reading, walking, cooking, spending time with friends who grounded her beyond the pressures of elite sport. As the 1980s drew to a close, the world around her began to shift. The Berlin Wall fell, systems collapsed, nations redefined themselves. The sports world changed overnight. Many athletes struggled to find a place in the new order. But Kirsten Emmelmann handled transition with characteristic grace. She continued racing, representing a united Germany at a time when identities were being rewritten. Her performances remained strong. She anchored, supported, mentored younger athletes, and became a steady presence in a time of turbulence. Her career was not defined by controversy or noise. It was built on reliability, humility, and quiet excellence. Retirement did not remove her from the world of athletics. She remained connected, encouraging younger generations, participating in events, and nurturing the very qualities that shaped her own success. The discipline she learned on the track became discipline for life. The teamwork of relay racing became a model for collaboration. And the lessons of endurance of running through pain became metaphors for navigating a changing world. Perhaps what makes Kirsten Emmelmann's story so compelling is its human simplicity. She was never the loudest star in the sky, never the one who demanded attention. She was the steady flame that never flickered, no matter how strong the winds blew. She was the runner who showed that greatness could come from quiet strength, consistency, and a relentless love for the craft. Colorful image description. A serene portrait-like scene of Kirsten standing on an empty track at sunset, hands on hips, looking into the golden horizon, her shadow stretching long across the lanes. Her medals: European gold, world gold, indoor gold, multiple relay triumphs represent more than athletic superiority. They represent resilience through political upheaval, loyalty to teammates, precision under pressure, and the bridging of two Germanys through the universal language of speed. Even decades later, footage of her races still feels alive. The poise with which she accelerates, the smoothness of her stride, the intensity of her transitions, they remind us that relay running is an art form. And she was a master artisan. If you look closely at the videos from Stuttgart, Rome, or the World Indoors, you'll notice something subtle. Her face never shows panic. Even in the final 50 meters, when other runners grimace or tighten, Kirsten remains composed. It is the look of someone who has trained her mind as much as her muscles, a woman who knows that the body follows where the mind leads. Her legacy resonates beyond medals. She inspired thousands of young runners across Germany who saw in her a reflection of themselves, someone humble, disciplined, and quietly unstoppable. The reunification years were uncertain, but athletes like her helped keep German track and field competitive, cohesive, and proud. And now, as we look back on her journey with its triumphs, transitions, and timeless lessons, the story of Kirsten Emmelmann becomes more than a biography. It becomes a reminder that strength does not always roar. Sometimes strength whispers. Sometimes it endures. Sometimes it runs one more lap when everything hurts, because the finish line is not a place, it is a decision. Colorful image description. A final vivid montage of Kirsten sprinting, receiving medals, exchanging batons, and smiling among teammates, each frame glowing with warm color grading like a cinematic documentary finale. Kirsten Emmelmann's story tells us this: you do not have to be the loudest to be extraordinary. You do not have to seek the spotlight to illuminate the world. You simply have to run your race fully, honestly, courageously. If Kirsten Emmelmann's journey moved you, if her quiet strength, discipline, and extraordinary relay legacy inspired something in you, then join us here on Behind the Medal, where the world's greatest stories in sport come alive. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more cinematic athlete stories every week. Your support keeps this channel running, just like the athletes we celebrate. Thanks for watching. And remember, every medal has a story.